how are you? Today, Design Talks is about design brand identity, design brand code. What I'm talking about is many of you asked me about how do you do when you become a designer, that the sketch that you make, that the creative expression you make, it's really for that brand and therefore it's the right thing you can do for them. And this is a very good question because everybody has, good creativity. We all have our skills. We all know how to make nice sketches, all right? But the most important thing is to make sure that what we do, it's really adapted and it's really cohesive with the brand we are working for. And the question that some of you have is, how do I know if I really am doing the right thing in terms of creativity and therefore have a good opportunity that my sketch or my proposal will be chosen? So, it's not easy. When we are in school, the most important thing is to exercise as much as we can so that we can improve our creativity, we can improve our skills, and we are able to develop a car design project from sketches, okay, from the brainstorming phase until the model. And that's okay, that's perfect, because we know all the steps, all the design process, okay, that we have to make in order to get to our objective, to make a nice model so that we can show the design of this model, we can present that design and have a success, of course, with that project. At the same time, it's not so easy in school to learn how to be appropriate with our creativity if we have to do, a General Motors design for the future, or a FCA, or a Renault, or a BMW, or a Sherry, or Geely, So that is something that we cannot really teach in school. It's kind of complicated because it really belongs to that specific design studio philosophy, and it belongs to the design strategy for that brand, that the most important design person of that studio, which is the VP design, of course, of that brand or that company, decides, how to do it. And it's that person that will have a sort of a new storytelling with the new design codes that will become very important, very distinctive, to make sure that when the designers will use those design codes within their creativity and creative process, what they will produce will be for that brand. Now, if we talk BMW, we can see the front grille with those big, huge front shapes. So on top we have the logo. And for a long time we had the round lights, in the front, which was very BMW for a long time. Or if we talk about BMW, we see that front grille that is very well designed, always the same shape, that sometimes can change in size, materials, finish, proportions, but we have that thing. And also the sections that we find on the body of the Audi's cars. They are very tense, they are not very soft, they are very architectural style, they are very tense, but they are full of energy, full of dynamics, and full of elegance. So there are lots of those little things that we have to learn when we join a design studio. So how does it work? How does it happen that I go to work for Fiat, for example, and after a few months I know exactly how to perform creatively to make sure that the boss will be very happy about what I'm doing. It's not easy. I remember when I started to work at Fiat, which was my first design job, that at the beginning I was extremely happy to work there, but I really didn't know what it means to design, to exercise my creativity, to make sure that my sketch looked like a Fiat and not like a BMW or like a Volkswagen. So that's the first thing I start thinking about. I was very young and I was saying, but how the hell am I going to do? And in reality, it happens because of the environment. When you get into a design studio, you of course you're not alone. You will have a team or several designers team for several projects. You have managers, you have design directors, you have a big VP design director that comes in and decides at the end what is good, what is bad, okay, or gives the final orientation. And therefore, and everything is done to respect what is the design, brand, code, identity, philosophy, or strategy. And this one, it's done, it's made by the top management board, especially by the VP design director, who is the person in charge that has the biggest responsibility. And then once that is accepted between the company members, like other departments, like product planning, marketing, also the president, we are talking about important, very important high-level management. Then it's deployed to the design directors, design managers, designers. And of course, the ones that are youngest, the youngest designer, the one that just arrived in the design studio, at the beginning they will have a little bit of difficulty to understand how and what does it really mean to go and respect those design codes. But if we are very careful and we see what more experienced designers do in that studio to respond to that new design strategy, then we will learn and we will understand which are the elements that we have to control in our sketches to make sure that when we see that sketch, we can say that sketch is for that exact brand, with no doubts, okay? Even if the sketch is very creative, it's very different than other colleagues, of course. But what it counts are those design codes. Now, when I talk about design codes, what do I really mean? This is also another thing that we have to try to understand together. Design codes are some details that are extremely important on any car. And I give you an example. We have graphic design codes. We have model design codes. We have sections design codes. But we also have technological design codes. We have also proportions design codes. So we have to see for that brand all those, how can I say, all those design codes families, okay, according to proportions, technology, sections, modeling, details, materials, how they are described by that policy, and then we have to interpret them when we sketch, when we use our creativity. So let's do a very simple exercise to understand each other. If you take an Audi and we check the design codes for model, for the three-dimensional modeling of any type of Audi, you will realize that the Audi has a specific lines, specific sections, specific windshield inclination, specific center line going toward the back, okay? There are specific lines that we don't find on a BMW and we do not find on a Mercedes. those belong to their design codes for that brand, Audi brand. If we look at the graphic, design codes, the front grille and the lights, those are the graphics, you know, the air intake, opening of the front bumper, or the back area with the lights and where I put the the license plate, and how I do the lower part of the bumper. There you have other design cues, design codes. Therefore, you will see that on an Audi, we have always this big, huge, you know, front grille, today more three-dimensional than the past. And then you have those horizontal front lights, okay, that are very strong. And then you have the technology design codes for the Audi, which is how the light signature, which means the guidelines or the LED lights in the front of those lights, they are designed, which are, they're also very horizontal, okay, and very technological with a lots of complexity. Of course, Audi is a premium brand that they can afford to do that, and they are right in doing that. So when you see all that, you realize that those are Audi design codes. Now let's go and check another brand, okay, and see if they have the same design codes. When we take a Volkswagen Passat, okay, or a Volkswagen, I don't know, the three core high-end Volkswagen, we can see that the sections and the lines are completely different. They are more rounded, they are much more aerodynamic, there's much more continuity, you know, between the front, the top and the back of the car. When we see the front lights, there is a graphic design that is completely different. Also, the grille is completely different in proportions, in size. Everything is more horizontal, more classic, more classical. I would say that Audi is more technical and more probably contemporary design. Then when you see the back, it's the same thing, very classical. Juicy reflections. The reflections on the body of the car are different. Audi has very strong reflections because the section of their model is done in a particular way that the reflections are more like marker strokes on a sketch. You see, we have to be able to understand, capture those differences, to understand what does it mean for a brand to be that brand and not another one, or not to look like another one. So when people ask me, how do I do, you know, young designers, how do I do to know how I have to perform my creativity in order to make a sketch that looks like I'm really working for that brand and not for another? This is a good answer, I think, that will probably make it more clear in your head what it means to discover those design brands codes. And the design brands codes, which is the brand image identity of the product, okay, it's developed by the top management of design, not naturally, shared and validated with the top management of the company at very high level, then deployed on all projects according to the product planning program, and every project, okay, will follow those new directives or directions. Of course, there are some projects that are what we call transition projects. They are not a real brand new car. They are heavy restylings. That means that we take an old car and we have to make a new front end, a new back end, maybe a new dashboard, new door panels, you know, a little bit of color and trim. And then we had to put it into market because that's the last time we do or redo that project, because we are already doing the brand new car that will take that place on that market, on that platform, and will arrive in 3-4 years. Therefore, we have those heavy restyling projects, you know, that are a transition, so they are a bridge between the old design or the past design codes brand image and they transfer and they make that transition, that bridge toward what it will be the new design codes or brand image. And those projects are the ones that get a lot of the new design codes on the new front end, for example, mainly on the grille, some materials, the wheels. If the design code is that we must have big wheels, then the wheels will be bigger, which means that the mechanics will be changed to make sure that they can have the big wheels. If we change in the front lights and rear lights, and we will have a very distinctive light signature, we will start on those to change front lights and rear lights to give a little bit, hint or how it will be on the brand new car that will come out in 3-4 years. So we'll anticipate a little bit of that philosophy on that transitional project, the bridge project, okay? The heavy new restyling. And those projects are very important because those projects generally come out in the market for any brand just after the big show car or the new concept car is presented at the auto show, which will have the new brand design codes integrated to show how that brand is developing and how that brand will be developed. Therefore, after that marketing operation, which is the concept of show car, we take some of those elements and we inject them into those bridge transitional projects. And of course, at the same time, we know that everybody is working on the brand completely new car on the same platform that will come out, and there will be others, and they all will share those new design codes to make sure that the image of that brand will be cohesive in 4 years. And when they will come out, they will be, super well accepted and understood by the market, and everything will look like just perfect. So I think that I gave you an idea about how it works. What do we have? The effort that the young designers had to make in trying to study a little bit what it means, design codes of a brand image, who makes them, which is the new design strategy to apply or policy. It's done by design department, validated by top management of the company at very high level, and then everybody must respect and encourage even the evolution, because those brand design codes are very important at the beginning because they set a real new start in terms of image, in terms of design, and sometimes also functionality. But at the same time, this is just a start. Therefore, under that design management, for about 5-10 years, you will have the opportunity to develop, evolve, and get even better, more modern, more contemporary, more forward the future projects, that design strategy. And that's the job that designers should do to stimulate, managers and directors, and show them that from that original idea, or that original design strategy, they can develop it to go forward something that is evolving in a certain way, and we can see that and decide whether to accept or not that new development, looking at the sketches. So, about your creativity. The creative efforts made in pushing for an evolution will be, of course, evaluated by top management, and they will, will find some elements that are very interesting that they will keep and they will use for the design codes brand image development strategy. Okay? I hope that I was clear in this exposition about this topic, which is very interesting. It's a little bit more philosophical than just about sketching or creativity or skills. But believe me, this is another important skill. To have a brain that is able creatively to make the synthesis, understand, and then move on to make new proposals, which is the job and responsibility of any designer. Okay, so thank you very much for your attention. I hope you like this video. Share it wherever you want. All right, and thank you very much, and see you to the next design talks. Ciao, bye bye.